Today I want to show you 6 different ways you can communicate with your users so that they can know what's happening with your application. There are 6 different ways that you can write code in your program so that you can communicate with your users. Let's go through a few of them now. The first one that I've used quite effectively is a form that has multiple lines of text on them. This is a form that I have where I need to build up the data sets. In other words, I need to load data into the database. And while loading the data into the database, there's a particular amount of wait time. It is actually fairly significant. So what I did was I took and I created a place that looks like a notepad. And each of these are actually individual fields on my form. Well, those fields on the form, as I called the different queries to load the data, as I called the different imports to import the data or massage it or do whatever I needed to get this data ready for the users to use, I just put a line in there. So I just blanked it out. Then I put the text in, data import started, and then there was a date over here. And then the import gets complete, the employee combo or employee combination data gets completed, the usage data gets completed, and the analysis tables, the tables that are ready for them to do all their analysis is complete. And then at the end, the entire process is complete. At the end of each of these, I had the date, and I blanked out the date because we don't need to know that exactly. But that is a way that I created a buildup of information going to the user, refresh the form after each update, and I could very easily put that in the code in between each of the lines of queries or imports that took a particular length of time. So that's number 1, fields on a form. My second one is multiple forms opening over the top of one another. The caption in each of these forms is progress. The first form has loading startup data, please be patient. This happens to be a label, and the label just has information one step at a time. And so in combination, there's a total of 6 different forms. The first one is loading startup data, please be patient. The next form has BU administration, BU admin information, that is finished being loaded. And then the next form gets loaded over the top. And what I put in my code was to load the next form and then get rid of or close the form behind it. Load the next form over the top, close the form behind it. Till eventually I loaded the last form with the continue button here on the page, and then I closed the form behind it. Now the user then gets to respond to this form. They click continue, and then they're ready to use their data. So this is the second option. Multiple forms opening on top of one another with a label that has progressive information on it. The next one, we have this form here that it's in our bookstore database, and the bookstore database needed to have a speed entry system. In other words, we preloaded all the ISBNs and pictures that we had into this particular module, and in telling it that we had pictures for them, we could then scan the ISBN code on the book, and this would very quickly tell us whether or not we had that particular book in stock. If it did, it would put the title in that big green area over to the right. If it didn't, the next thing would be, okay, if it wasn't an ISBN that we scanned, it would say try again. If it did not have the title in the database or did not have a picture of that book in the database, it couldn't find the title, and it says set the book aside. Then it would go through our full process where it would take a picture and all of that stuff. When I find the title, in this particular one, the person then scans the location that they're putting the book into. Computer knows where the book is. We put the book on the shelf, and it's ready for us to sell the book and then pick it off the shelf when it's sold. So that's the third option, a label that updates with information and also color to give a quick visual for what's happening under the scene. So then there's the good old message box. Message box looks like that, but they don't have to be boring. So you see the message, oi yo, that's not an ISBN, mate. You missed something important. Try again. In other words, you don't have to be boring. In fact, here's another message. My goodness, some poor dear fellow forgot to scan the location. How about you try that again, sweet thing? Or the next one, Google's dumb. Set the book aside, keep working. In other words, you don't have to say, oh, it failed, or error message number such and such and so. Go look it up. You can be a little bit creative and let the user know what's going on with a message box. So that's our fourth method. And then the fifth method, you can use the Sys command. Now, where's the Sys command give you information? Well, it's on this screen right now. In fact, it's sitting down there in that corner. That's where the Sys command, syscmd, puts the information. So you have Sys command, and you put in quotes the command that you want to put there. So this one says scanning ISBN with Google Books. So what it does is portray information, especially in a long process. This is our stock entry form for the bookstore. When a book needs to retrieve data from the web, it has various messages in that Sys command area that lets the user know that, hey, I'm working on it. Give me a little bit of time. In fact, here's all the different messages that we have put in that Sys command. So one process says scanning the ISBN. ISBN DB is one database. It says we're scanning it and we found it. WorldCat and Google Books are another two ISBN databases. So another area we use looking for ISBN. The book is found, continue working. Opening forms, searching for ISBN, clearing the complete books, opening more forms, various messages that we just neatly tuck on the status bar on the bottom left so that people can stay informed as to what is going on during a process. And now the last one. This one is by far the most fun because we had young people a lot of times doing the book entry, and that book entry really sometimes we didn't want them hitting the keyboard or wondering if the program had locked up. So we just put a form on the screen that had a picture of a puppy dog. Enjoy the puppy while you wait. We're begging Google to tell us what book you have in your hands. So a little fun way to tell a young person to wait for a few moments, and once the book is found, we close the form, give them back their access to the regular data entry form, and then they could go on from there. So there's 6 different ways that you can communicate with the user. Hope you enjoy finding ways to use each and every one of these. They're fun. Thanks. Talk to you later.